As a small business owner, I'm always fascinated by this concept of SEO, and I've always wondered how it could benefit my business. And but truth be told, I know very little about it. I'm Catherine Young. I'm going to be hosting a chat today with Carl Wallace. Carl, welcome in the studio.
Thanks, Catherine.
Lovely to have you here. I really am eager to hear about the topic that we're going to be talking about today. But before we get there, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, as you said, my name is Carl Wallace. I'm the founder and CEO of Vigo, a technology company that develops cloud-based technologies for the SME market worldwide. One of the most successful platforms we've recently developed is a site builder which allows anyone, any business, large, small, any industry, to build their own websites.
Yeah, awesome. You recently got married, right?
Yes,
awesome.
correct.
Is married life treating you well?
Very good, very good.
There's just something awesome about a man who says that a couple of months into marriage. So lovely to have you in
I think
studio.
if you've got a very busy entrepreneurial lifestyle and career, it's very good to come home to some solid ground.
I agree with you on that, Carl. In fact, that's definitely a topic we should shoot at some point. I fully agree with you. So we want to talk about SEO today and search engine optimization. And really, I don't think there's anybody better to talk about it than you. I know this is really something you understand well. This is the area you work in. But tell me first, let's start with that, with the audience. What is search engine optimization?
Well, first of all, search engine is Google, Bing, Yahoo. They're some of the biggest search engines out there. And it's basically what people use to find stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
They go onto the internet, they open one of the search engines and they search for whatever topic they're looking for.
Right.
Results come up and that takes them directly to the sites with the information that they're looking for.
Right. So typically, as an end user, I would go onto Google, Bing, whichever one, Safari, etc. I will go and I will go search, right, with
Yes.
words. So what is the optimization part of that? What does that mean?
Well, first of all, if you're a business owner and you have a website, there's certain things that need to happen on your actual website to be optimized for search engines, because search engine has bots that search the internet,
right?
The entire internet.
Right. For those who don't know, help us with what is a bot.
A bot is a little digital man that crawls the internet and that searches and indexes information on the internet.
Right.
So if your website is not structured properly and your information, there's a lot of things that need to happen on your website. If that's not structured properly, the bots don't really know what's on your website. So your website won't get indexed and won't get ranked.
Okay. So then search engine optimization important for any business, small, large, big, minute you have a website?
It depends on what type of business you have.
Right.
If you're if you're relying on the internet to drive customers to your website and in that way generate leads or sales, then yes, search engine optimization is a very important part of your business.
Right.
It's a very affordable way of acquiring new customers. So it's a really effective and affordable way to grow your business online.
Yeah.
So the internet is there.
Yeah.
There's billions of internet users, so you might as well make use of that.
Exactly. How do you do it? How do you actually do search engine optimization for your site?
That's a question a lot of people keeps on asking, and it's a very wide topic. The bit that you need to do on your website is actually just the first stone. There's a lot more that you need to do. But if you have, whether you're using a site builder or WordPress, or you've got a developer that created the site for you, the way your site is built is the most important thing. There's certain things structure-wise that your site needs to adhere to in order to, for bots to crawl it. And then the second thing is your content. It's highly recommended that if you're not a copywriter, that you do get someone that knows what they're doing to do the copy for your website, because there's a big difference between writing copy for a website than writing copy for a magazine article. Very big difference. And your website has keywords and metadata that sits in the background, and that information needs to link up with the copy on your website. So there's actually an art to it.
Yes.
It's not difficult, it's very easy to do, and there's a lot of information available on the internet on how to do it.
Yeah.
But it is important that you do it correctly.
Right. So what I've heard in this, what you've said is, so the structure of the site is one element, and then the content of the site.
Yes.
And those both work together to get you to proper SEO.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And one of the most important parts about the structure is also the way your URLs is structured.
Right.
So let's say you've got yourdomain.com / and the page name. That bit is very important.
Right.
You'll be amazed at how many websites don't have the correct URL structure. And once again, that just confuses the Google bots or the search engine bots. So it's important that all that is in place.
So great advice from Carl. So for all these SMEs, all of you watching this today, make sure you go look at your website, ask your developer, is the structure correct? Is your content good for the content developers? And then make sure that the URL is structured correctly so that the bots, I've just learned a new word, the bots can actually go and make sure they find you. Fascinating. Why do I need SEO? Really?
Well, here's the thing. Out of the millions of searches that are done every day on the internet, only the first few listings that appear on the first page actually get clicked on. So there's a very, very fierce competition amongst businesses to be amongst those first few.
Right.
Okay, if you don't rank at least on the first page, then the chances of people finding you on Google or any search engine is very slim.
Right.
Only 10% of people actually click through to the second page.
What a fascinating stat. Wow.
Right, so only if you're not on the first page, the chances of people clicking through to your site is very slim.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the various search engines, right? So we've got Google, we've got Yahoo, we've got Bing. Do you have to have different structures in place as you set up your SEO for the different search engines, or are they all the same?
No, they are pretty much all the same.
Right.
The only big difference is the percentage of internet users worldwide that use a different platform.
Right.
So there's obviously way more people that use Google.
Yeah.
And Google they've got a very strong AdWords product as well, which obviously also contributes in a very big way to your search engine strategy. I mean, search engine optimization it's not just an optimization, it's a strategy.
Right.
It's a long-term thing, it's an ongoing thing, it's something that you actually need to work on week on week.
Right, okay. And then I heard this term search queries, right? And the value that it carries. Can you help me a little bit understanding that concept better?
Well, let's compare it to traditional advertising.
Right.
If you advertise your product in a magazine, a lot of people read it, but a very small percentage of people are actually looking for that product or are buyers of that product. Right. So if people search on a search engine, they are already looking for what you have. Right. So if you utilize the search queries and AdWords properly, the people that are searching for those phrases are people that are already interested in what you have.
Yeah. So that first barrier to entry is actually already gone.
Exactly.
That is fascinating advice. Again, another important point, really why Carl's convincing me why we need a search engine optimization. So what you're saying, Carl, is they're already looking for it. Make sure that what they look for, yours comes up first.
Exactly.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So I know that there are various considerations to keep in mind for search engine optimization. Can you speak us through some important ones?
The first thing is, I think, when you do start on the SEO journey, is to really read up on it and familiarize yourself with everything there is around it. There's a lot of content available on the internet for that. So there's no need for a specific agency or a big company or big budgets.
Yeah.
It is something you can do yourself. The information is there.
Right.
So I wouldn't even attempt taking on a SEO strategy if you don't fully understand what it's all about.
Right.
Then obviously the second thing is you need to determine whether you are capable of writing your website content and making sure that the technology behind your website is correctly or is correct.
Yeah.
It is advised that for that small part you maybe go and see a consultant or somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Right.
Once again, that information is also available on the internet, freely available. So it's not necessary to see a professional, but it can help. It definitely will help. And then one very big part of SEO, like I've mentioned before, is AdWords.
Right.
It is 100% worth it to spend money on.
Can you
on
explain
AdWords.
first a little bit about what AdWords are and how you get them?
So AdWords is usually when you do a search, there's 3 options that come up right at the top. It's a little bit highlighted. It looks a little bit different than the rest. And then there's ads on the side.
Yes.
So that's Google ads. Right. Those are paid for ads.
Right.
The great thing about that is you can, Google has a really good tool for determining the AdWords in your industry and for your type of business.
Right.
And it's generally good to have, about 15 AdWords to work with. Too much is not a good thing.
Right.
But then you can experiment with the different AdWords because you can also determine your own budget.
Right.
So you can allocate certain amounts of budget per AdWord, and when you only actually pay for the ad when people click on it. So that's the key differentiator between that and any other form of advertising. Is that the moment you pay, that person clicked on your website for a reason. Because your AdWord came up amongst the particular details that he searched.
Yes.
That's a fundamental piece of information that's very important.
Yes. So you recommend it's worth spending the money on AdWords?
100%, because you can determine your own budget, so you can start really small. And as you refine your strategy, because your first 15 words might not be the best 15 words, so you can refine it and experiment, and Google has all the analytics to show you how certain keywords are performing. Right. So that allows you to really refine your strategy. So 6 months down the line, your strategy is so refined that you can actually determine in value what the return on your investment is. So once you've reached that point, and you've only spent, let's say from 100 Rand to 1,000 Rand per month on AdWords on refining that strategy.
Yeah, for those internationally watching, 100 Rand to 1,000 Rand, we're talking $10 to $100 approximately.
Once you can determine what that return on investment is, then you can start increasing your ad spend, because obviously then there's a definite return on that investment. You're growing your business for each dollar that you're spending.
I absolutely love that. So basically what you're saying is, consider AdWords seriously and give it time. Give it at least 6 months to see how it's working. Refine it all the way. You're not going to get it right the first time. What I'm also hearing you say is that you don't have to get consultant in right in the beginning. Educate yourself so you know what it's about. But you may need some help on the content if content is not your strength.
Yes, definitely. I mean, content is a very big thing, because I see a lot of business all the time. They write essays and essays filled with content on their sites, and that's people don't read. Yeah, exactly. So you have to make your content easily available and easy to read, and easy to process, and the bots read content very similar to the way that us humans read content. So you need to take that into consideration as well.
Okay. What about this notion of keywords have a price attached to them?
Well, that's it's basically comes down to, there's a lot of companies in your industry that compete for the same keywords. Right. So in our industry, for example, web design. Right. It's a very popular keyword. Okay. Yes. So you might pay 100 Rand per click even for that keyword. Wow. So
different keywords have different prices?
Yes.
Wow.
100%. So the click-through value per keyword differs.
My goodness.
So it's important that you do use some of the big keywords, because those are the words that people search for the most. So it comes down to what's the word?
Just the supply and demand, right?
Supply and demand, exactly. That's exactly what it is. The higher the demand, the more expensive the keywords are. It's also very good sometimes to use keywords, that your competitors use. Like their company names, for example. We sometimes experiment with our competitors and use their names as part of our competitors, as part of our keywords, because that's when people start searching for their names, then you can also start ranking.
That's a fascinating strategy. Yeah. Very interesting. How many keywords do you start with? You said what, 15?
15. I wouldn't go more or less than 15. Okay. That's a very good number to work with. Okay. I would rather change it every month. Okay. Because, the analytics tell you exactly how the keywords perform.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you can drop a few at the end of the month and add a couple of others.
Right.
Until you end up with the 15 optimal keywords after, let's say, 6 months.
Right. And then, so is this what you mean with retargeting?
No, retargeting is a very interesting thing.
Right.
Have you ever been on a website, let's say, for watches? You've searched for watches and you've landed on a site that sells beautiful watches.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everywhere else you go on the internet, the same brand appears. Right? So that's retargeting. That's very powerful. Once I think it's about 1,000 click-throughs. Once you reach 1,000 click-throughs, you qualify for retargeting. So how that works is when people then click through to your site, they see your site and they leave. But for the next couple of weeks after that, they keep on seeing your ads all the time on other websites. Websites that have the Google Ad Network displayed on them, even Facebook, your social media platforms. So this is a really clever way of the online advertising industry placing ads in your browser that are relevant to your likes and your searches and your interests.
That is fascinating, Carl. I can use an example of an online women's apparel store that I searched for a specific dress for about 3 months ago, and I was on the site, didn't buy, wasn't happy, but they retargeted. You just taught me another word, bots and retargeting. They retargeted me continuously. I ended up buying the dress.
So generally, they say that you need to be faced with a product 7 times before you make a purchase. That's the average. So
fascinating. I wonder at what stage I clicked, because I was retargeted a couple of times, but at some point I said, okay, let me buy it.
Yeah, the global average is about 7 times that you need to look at a product before you actually make the decision to buy it.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why retargeting becomes a amazing part of your online advertising strategy. That's where you really start seeing return on investment.
Right. So a couple of points I'm taking out of this. Keywords have different prices. Make sure that you choose them well. Make sure that you choose the ones that will bring the most value, but you will pay more for those who are more in demand than others.
Yes.
That's the reality.
Yeah.
About 15 keywords, that's what we should be looking at, and then continuously refresh them to see what works through the analytics as you get them monthly. And then this notion of retargeting, I would imagine that's an expensive solution.
No, you can spend whatever your budget is. If you are willing to spend R1,000 a month, or $100 a month, then that's what you spend. If you can spend $1,000 a month, then you spend $1,000. At the end of the day, you can literally determine the return on investment per dollar. So if you're spending $1,000 compared to $10,000, there's $1 return per dollar.
Exactly. Okay, I absolutely love that. So, any final thoughts on search engine optimization?
I think the most important thing is, I'd like to reiterate the fact that it can be done by anyone. The information is freely available. On our blog, we actually publish a lot of information about SEO, because the more SEO our users, or the more successful our users are in their SEO, the better our platform becomes.
Of course.
So it's important for us that our users understand SEO.
Yeah.
So the information is there. You don't have to spend, thousands of dollars on consultation fees for companies to do it for you. You can do it yourself. Yeah. And then just yet again, spending money on AdWords is one of the best return on investments you can do in any form of advertising.
Okay, and then what was also clear to me as you've been speaking to us is that SEO is actually more than just web design, right? So it's not just the design. You actually spoke about an SEO strategy.
Yes.
And web design is just one of the components of it.
Yeah. You can start off with your website. Your website has to be perfect to start off with. Yeah. But from there on, it's going to determine on what you do on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis to build that SEO strategy.
And how do you keep up with trends? I mean, because I would imagine SEO trends would be changing all the time.
Yes, I mean the search engines change the way they rank sites regularly. It's important that you stay up to date. There's a lot of blogs, our blog being one of them, where we do announce changes to algorithms and the way search engines rank sites. Yeah. So it's extremely important that you stay on top of things. Yeah. Because obviously, I've seen a lot of instances where sites rank really good and high, and then they leave it for a while, and then the technology changes a little bit, and then
they
drop off again.
And they lose all the work they've tried to do.
Yes.
In conclusion, is there any example you can share with us where SEO really worked for an organization? You don't have to give me the name of the organization, but just what the business was and how it worked.
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't like to mention names, but some of our users have often sent us emails and you know, given us proven case studies of how SEO has helped them generate business. I mean, the analytics is there, so you can clearly see what impact it has on your business. And when you're generating sales, it's very easy to measure and determine what results you're yielding from SEO, because the sale happens on the site.
That's right.
If you have a service-driven business and people, phone you or email you, that's a little bit more difficult to determine, what impact SEO has on the bottom line of your business.
Right.
But in general, you'll see an increase in inquiries, increase in leads, an increase in web traffic. I mean, that's obviously the most important part. Is you want your web traffic to be as high as possible, and that's where you can see the results.
I love what you're saying, Carl. For those of you who have watched the session on CRM, the module that we did on CRM and talking about nurturing customers and the marketing component thereof, you almost, as you were speaking, for me, as you were speaking, I was thinking, if you use SEO, you get the guys to your site, they are there. If it is not an immediate sale, so there isn't an electronic payment that go on, ensure that the content is good enough to nurture them to get in their car and come and do the purchase.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, but it could be a big lead generator. That's what you're saying for the business.
And once again, I'm going to go back to the content of your website. It's one thing generating a lot of leads and getting a lot of traffic to your website, but the information on your website needs to be structured in such a way that you want to get that guy to pick up the phone immediately.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line of what you want to do with your website. If you're not selling stuff on your website, you want people to phone you.
Exactly. Some great advice. Carl, thank you very much.
Thanks.
It's been absolutely fascinating. For you who want to learn a little bit more about SEO, we've got the link to the Vigo site. Please go check it out, www.withvigo.com. Sorry, I misread that for a minute. SEO advice for small businesses, go check that link out. And then SEO in South Africa specifically, as an example, and in the other African countries, there are various articles that you can go find. Thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you go sort your SEO out for your small business. Until next time, thank you. Goodbye.